Hi, I'm Kerry Lord from TOFT. This video forms part of a series to accompany the Edwards Crochet kits, patterns and books. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add a giant chain tail loop onto an animal. So this has been used a lot in the original Edwards Menagerie book with the elephant, the hippo, the lion, even the Highland cow. There's lots and lots of examples of me using this technique. It's really easy and it's very secure if you do it in the way that I'm showing you. So you're not going to be sewing it on afterwards, you're actually going to crochet it in, which means that it's very secure if your animals are going to get carried around by their tails a lot, which mine certainly are in our house. So take your length of yarn and fold it in half. Now this is something that can come from experience, is how long this needs to be in order for you to attach it on. There's no easy rule for me to tell you, which is why it's not stated in the pattern, because it's very much dependent upon how tight or loose your chain stitches are. And I find in crochet, it's one of the stitches where our tension tends to vary the most, crocheter to crocheter. So my advice would be is fold it in half and go with however much yarn you've got left. Don't worry too much about the fact that the hippo says to do 6 and say the lion says to do 12. Instead, just crochet the number of chain stitches that you've got length of yarn wise to make it nice and neat. So once you've folded it in half like that, you're going to fold it into 4. And then what we're going to do is put our hook into the position that we want the tail. And I've got this poor volunteer sloth here who doesn't actually have a tail, but what you need to do would be take the back of the head where you've sewn that head on, so between the two top legs, run a line down to meet between the legs and make sure that it is spaced between the two tops of the legs once you've sewn it on. So I will always put the tail on very last usually, because I can always make sure that it's in the right place. Put your hook in through your fabric, and I would put it around 2. You can either put it through 1 or 2, but I like to make them nice and secure, so I'm going to put my hook through 2 stitches that way. Yarn over with that yarn that's folded in half, so it's 2 loops really that I'm going to be putting on that hook, and pull it through those 2 stitches. And then I'm actually going to chain using all 4 strands that are there. So grab my hook through all 4 and pull them through. So 1, 2, and it can be quite tough because you're basically using a very small hook compared to the hook that you would normally use for that size of yarn. So pull the next one through, and then if you've got a little loop left there, put your hook through it and do it with your working yarn that's still there. And then what you tend to be doing is adding loops on to the end of this, which if you do them this way that I've just shown you, you can actually just add them on in one go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you can go back into the end of that chain somewhere. There we go. Slip stitch, and then add another one on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and do it the same again. And do a third one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and add another loop in. Then what I would do would be to slip stitch that into position. Go like that. Secure it by cutting my yarn. So I'm going to cut my length of yarn off. And then it's a lovely neat way of doing it, because the only end you're sewing in would be to sew this back down that chain and into the body of your animal, and that way this tail is so firmly attached. You haven't got any ends that might come loose and you might lose that tail because it's crocheted onto your fabric, and you just sew that end in, so it's a lovely neat finish.